Listen, I'm not one for drama, okay? Maybe a little, but only when it's deserved. When we moved into this cookie-cutter suburban neighborhood in Raleigh, North Carolina, I thought we'd landed in paradise neat lawns, kids biking around, the whole American dream vibe. Then I met Karen, the HOA president, who turned my front steps into a personal vendetta, and let me tell you, I made her eat her words in the most gloriously petty way possible. It all started 6 months ago when we bought this fixer-upper on Maple Drive. The house was solid, but the front steps, a crumbling mess of cracked concrete, like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. My wife, Jessa, and I planned to replace them, but we were knee-deep in renovations, new plumbing, rewiring, you name it. The steps were low on the list. Enter Karen, our HOA's self-appointed queen, who rolled up in her pristine white SUV, clipboard in hand, like she was auditioning for a reality show called Neighborhood Tyrant. "Those steps are an eyesore," she snapped, not even bothering with a hello. Per HOA guidelines, Section 4, subsection B, they need to be fixed within 30 days, or you're getting fined. I tried explaining we were working on it, but she cut me off with a smirk. Maybe if you spent less time tinkering in that garage and more time on curb appeal, you wouldn't be embarrassing the neighborhood. Ouch. You know what I mean? That kind of jab that makes your blood simmer? Karen wasn't just a busybody. She was a professional meddler. She'd send emails about my grass being half an inch too long, my mailbox leaning 2 degrees off center, even my dog's bark being disruptive. But the steps, that was her obsession. Every week, she'd swing by, take photos, and leave passive-aggressive notes taped to my door. Non-compliance noted. Fines pending? Jess started calling her the step stalker, and we'd laugh. But man, it was getting old. I'm a contractor by trade, so I knew I could fix the steps. But Karen's attitude lit a fire in me. This wasn't just about compliance anymore, it was personal. The breaking point came at the HOA meeting. Picture this: a stuffy community center, folding chairs, Karen at the front with her gavel like she's Judge Judy. I showed up to plead my case, explain we needed a little more time. Before I could finish, Karen stood up, pointed at me, and said, "Some people think they can lower our property values with their shoddy aesthetics." The room went silent. Shoddy. My work, I've built custom decks for million-dollar homes, and this woman's calling my steps shoddy. Then she added, with this smug little laugh, "Maybe you should stick to something simpler, like, I don't know, gravel." The crowd snickered. My face burned. I walked out, fuming, and that's when the plan started forming. Let me back up a sec, Jess, and I aren't confrontational types. We're the wave at neighbors, bring cookies to the block party kind. But Karen pushed me to a place I didn't know I had. I wasn't just going to fix the steps. I was going to make them a monument, a glowing middle finger to her reign of terror. I spent nights sketching designs, calling in favors from my supplier buddies. Marble real, creamy white marble was my weapon of choice. It's classy, durable, and stupidly expensive. I found a guy who owed me a favor from a job last year, and he hooked me up with slabs at cost. Then I got this wild idea: soft glow LEDs embedded in the risers. Subtle, modern, and just enough to make Karen's head explode. The twist: I wasn't doing this alone. My buddy Marco, a retired electrician with a grudge against HOAs from his own battles, caught wind of my plan and begged to help. Man, I've been waiting to stick it to one of these Karens for years, he said, grinning like a kid on Christmas. The plan was simple but surgical. We'd work at night to avoid Karen's drive-bys. Marco and I tore out the old steps in one weekend, poured a new foundation, and started laying the marble. It was grueling marbles heavy, and cutting it precisely for those LED channels was a nightmare. Every night, we'd cover the work with tarps, pretending it was just prep. Karen stopped by once, squinting suspiciously, but I fed her some line about temporary repairs and she bought it. The LEDs were the real magic. Marco wired them to a dimmer, so they'd glow soft and warm, like something out of a fancy hotel. By the third night, we were done. The steps were stunning, smooth, gleaming, with this ethereal glow that made the whole house look like it belonged in a magazine. The reveal was where it got good. I knew Karen's routine every Saturday. She'd do her inspection tour at 8 a.m. sharp. So, Friday night, we unveiled the steps, turned on the LEDs, and waited. Sure enough, her SUV pulled up right on schedule. I was outside, pretending to water the lawn when she stepped out, clipboard in hand, ready to write me up. Then she saw the steps. Her jaw dropped. Literally. She stood there, frozen, as the morning sun hit the marble, making it gleam like it was carved from clouds. The LEDs, still on from the night before, cast this soft halo. "What is this?" she stammered. I shrugged. Casual as hell. "Oh, just fix the steps like you asked. You like 'em." She started sputtering about unapproved modifications and HOA regulations, but I had her dead to rights. I'd checked the bylaws, nothing banned marble or lighting. I handed her a copy of my permit from the city, smiled, and said, "Looks like we're good." Karen, the fallout was delicious. Word spread, and neighbors started swinging by to gawk. One guy, Tom, who'd been fined for his unauthorized birdhouse, high-fived me. Karen tried to rally the HOA board, but they shut her down. Turns out, even they were sick of her. The fines stopped. The notes stopped. Karen's SUV hasn't parked in front of my house since. But the best part, every night when those LEDs light up, I sit on my porch with a beer and smile, knowing I turned her petty power trip into my victory lap. Was I too extra? Maybe. But when someone like Karen comes at you, sometimes you gotta go big. What do you think? Did I go too far? Or was this the kind of justice she had? Coming. Drop your take below, because I know you've got a Karen story or two. The end.